Wall Street shaking off disappointing GDP news from the Commerce Department today. The economy grew at an annual rate of 2.6% in the last quarter. And, well, that's a little bit slower than some economists had anticipated. But I'll tell you, no one's worried. Investors are not worried. We are near highs of the session right now. Investors are confident. They're believing in the strength of this American economy. You get the Dow hitting a new all-time high today, now on track for its third straight record close. Joining me right here on set, Fairfax Global Markets CEO Paul Dietrich. Good to see you, Paul.
Thank you.
I'm not worried about GDP at 2.7%. You?
No, people have to put this into context, and they have to understand, if you look at the underlying numbers of this report this morning, they were stunning. For the last 3 months, the dollar has been going down, and that probably affected 1%. If the dollar had been normalized, we would have had a 3.6% GDP growth this quarter. Now, there are all sorts of benefits to the dollar going down, but nonetheless, it does affect GDP. The second thing is that fourth quarter reports are always suspect because they take the reports in December, and we were covered with ice and snow throughout all of America during that period of time. It will be revised up twice in the next few months, and do not be surprised if it's over 3% at that time.
Wow. You know, look. This was also, we should keep in mind, before we had gotten tax reform through. So there was a lot of anticipation, but it hadn't actually happened. So while the markets were moving higher, the sort of fundamental effect that we are now seeing with tax reform, with more than 200 companies coming out and announcing bonuses or wage increases, none of that had happened yet, Paul.
Exactly. And you know, one of the things that I find just stunning, there's an old adage in the market that earnings drive the market up. And if you look at the consensus earnings right before the tax cut, FactSet does an analysis of all the earnings growth projections for 2018. It was 9.3% in late November before the tax cut went into effect. Today, it's at 18.4. It's doubled in 2.5 months. I've never seen anything. I've been investing since 1986. I have never seen that kind of a jump in earnings, and that's why the market's going up. And I don't think nobody's talking about that. Wow.
And it's going to keep going up in your view?
Yes. When you have 18.6% growth over the projected for 2018, you know, I mean that should portray at least double-digit growth in the market for this year. Now, I think the market's a little bit overvalued, but nonetheless, the earnings growth is really pushing it forward.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, you think about how much more the company's going to earn because guess what? You know, not as much as going to Uncle Sam. Paul, the dollar, I just got to quickly ask you about that. Where's the dollar heading? I mean, we've got all this good economic stuff happening here. Shouldn't it be moving up?
Well, you know, we had the most interesting thing happen in the world the other day. Is that we've always had a history of the Treasury Department supporting a strong dollar, even when we're not supporting a strong dollar.
Right.
And Steve Mnuchin, our Treasury Secretary, came out and he actually told the American people the truth. And he did it. I thought what he did was genius. We are now, after this tax cut, we're bringing in $2 to $3 trillion of corporate money from overseas and bringing it back to the United States, like Apple's bringing back almost $250 billion back for themselves. And he made this comment, and it drove the dollar down even further. This was a brilliant move because now all these corporations, they're going to be able to move their foreign currency at a higher rate back to the United States. I thought this was genius.
Well, I had the same reaction as you. I'm like, you know, I'm kind of sick of Treasury secretaries always telling us, no matter what they think,
you know,
we need to have a strong dollar. And I was like, gosh, he actually sort of told it like, I mean, he's backed away from that. And the president said, well, this was misinterpreted, et cetera. But I hear you. I hear you.
We knew what they were trying to do.
Paul, it's good to see you.
Thank you,
so much. All right.